Wow, wow.
बिस्कुट मिलो हो दुखिया जीवन कैसे बिताऊं बिस्कुट मिलो. It all began at the Kumbh Mela, the largest spiritual festival in the world. Pilgrims from every corner of India and beyond gathered by the millions along the sacred banks of the river Ganges in a spectacular show of spiritual unity. Me, I had simply come seeking peace, but destiny clearly had other plans. The morning was foggy and cold. I wandered past colorful tents, listening to the sound of rhythmic drums and chanting. Incense smoke drifted on the chilly breeze that carried the smell of incense and thousands of jasmine. Incense smoke drifted on the chilly breeze that carried the smell of jasmine and marigold garlands draped everywhere. On walls and tents and statues of gods and goddesses, offerings burned. Around me was a sea of pilgrims, holy men, sages, and ascetics. Then I spotted him, a handsome white mongrel with a gothic look, dark rings around his brown eyes. Lounging beneath a vibrant tent, a garland of roses around his neck, completely at ease among the chanting pilgrims. Intrigued, I approached cautiously. Hi there. Are you lost? He turned, smiling lazily. Dude, I'm totally found. Just feeling the cosmic vibes here, man. Name's Happy, cosmic explorer, spiritual advisor, and part time philosopher. He sat up and put on a pair of oversized mirrored sunglasses. Happy, I'm Juno. Nice to meet you. I'm not as interesting as you. Happy wagged enthusiastically. Everybody's interesting, dude, without exception. Welcome to the Kumbh. Let's chill. Epic stuff happening today. Before I could protest, Happy bounded eagerly ahead. Reluctant but curious, I followed him through bustling crowds to an encampment filled with strange, captivating figures. Naga Babas, bodies covered in ash, dreadlocks piled high, adorned with flowers and beads. They were chanting beside ceremonial fires, some levitating inches above the ground. One Baba particularly stood out because of his serene smile. Happy said, Swami Rudranath, dude, meet my new cosmic bro Juno. Swami Rudranath smiled warmly, stroking his white beard that reached down to his ash covered chest. His eyes beneath dreadlocks, adorned with a garland of jasmine and a ton of brown beads, were wise. Welcome, dear traveler. I sense friendship begins today. Happy laughed cheerfully. Totally, dude. Cosmic friendship vibes incoming. The Babas welcomed us into their circle, inviting us to join their chants and yoga exercises. Happy attempted yoga poses, making the Babas roar with laughter. I couldn't help laughing too. Dude, yoga's totally harder than it looks. I wondered about the beads. They were everywhere, in dreadlocks and statues, on tents, and even dangling from tree branches like cosmic jewelry. Just as I was about to ask Happy if he thought the beads had some cosmic significance, or if they were just the universe's way of reminding us that we never had enough snacks, Baba Rudranath raised a hand, and the beads around his neck began to glow. Slowly at first, like tiny lights twinkling in the distance. Then they started to pulse with energy, almost like they had a life of their own. Ah, you're curious about the beads, aren't you? Baba said with a mysterious smile. Let me tell you the story of the divine beads, for their history is as old as the stars themselves. Happy's tail wagged, and he sat up straight, his ears perked up. Ooh, story time! I love stories, especially the cosmic ones. The Baba chuckled. You may think the beads are mere decoration, but they are far more powerful than you could imagine. Let me take you back, far, far back in time, to when the beads were first created. Once upon a cosmic time, in a realm where the stars danced to the music of creation, and time was but a whisper in the vastness of the universe, there lived a God so powerful and compassionate that his heart alone could light up galaxies. This God was none other than Shiva, the Lord of destruction and transformation. Shiva lived in a state of deep meditation, his mind serene as he sat upon the icy mount of Kailash, surrounded by swirling winds of divine energy. But despite his cosmic power, Shiva carried a deep sorrow in his heart, a sorrow for the pain, suffering, and illusion that plagued the universe. One day, in the midst of his meditation, a thought arose in Shiva's mind, a thought of compassion for the beings of the world. His divine tears, born from the overwhelming empathy he felt for all the creatures of the universe, fell from his eyes like tiny droplets of light. Each tear shimmered as it descended toward the earth, and with each drop, the suffering of the world seemed to lessen. These tears of compassion that fell from Lord Shiva's eyes were not mere drops of water. They carried the weight of the universe's sorrows, the hope for salvation, and the love that only a being as powerful and as pure as Shiva could express. As they touched the earth, they didn't just fall to the ground and disappear. They transformed into something sacred and powerful. The tears became trees, tall, majestic, evergreen trees, and leaves that whispered ancient secrets. And then, as if the earth could not contain the power of Shiva's compassion, but had to let it out, these trees began to bear fruit that contained seeds like no other. These seeds, so small yet so mighty, were called Rudraksha. The Rudraksha seeds became sacred to all beings in the universe, and everyone who possessed them felt a deep connection to Shiva's compassion. They were not mere seeds, but symbols of divine mercy. When someone held a Rudraksha, it was as though they held a piece of the very heart of Shiva, a reminder of the unseen bonds between all things. Now, the journey of these sacred seeds was not to be taken lightly. The trees that bore them grew in the wildest, most untouched parts of the universe, places where time twisted upon itself and spirits roamed freely. Yet, somehow, the Rudraksha trees always appeared where they were needed most. Baba Rudranath stopped speaking and looked at us with a knowing smile. So you see, he said, the beads are not just for decoration. They are the links between all things, the divine, the earthly, the infinite. They are the unseen thread that connects us all. Rudraksha means Rudra's tears. Rudra is Shiva. Happy, who had been looking quite serious for once, nodded thoughtfully. Man, that's a lot of responsibility for a necklace. I couldn't help but laugh. It's more than just a necklace, Happy. It's a cosmic connection. Right, Happy said, suddenly standing up and wagging his tail. So, how about we start our bead collection? I shook my head. Maybe we should just stick to cosmic snacks for now. The Baba chuckled. Every journey has its beginning, Juno, and perhaps your own journey with the beads is just beginning. Now, come meditate with me. Baba Rudranath said, inviting us to sit beside him on a red and purple rug. Meditation is simply joyful presence. I had never meditated before, unless you call chewing a bone for hours meditation, because that certainly is joyful presence. But I complied. Through half closed eyes, I watched Happy fidgeting, sneaking glances at a pile of ceremonial sweets. Finally, he whispered dramatically, Dude, is meditation usually this hungry? Baba had his eyes closed. I grabbed a handful of sweets that squished in my paws and gave them to Happy, whispering, Maybe less meditation, more snacks. Happy nodded, munching enthusiastically. Epic spiritual snack vibes, dude.